It's a trip to one of the favorite tracks on tour in tonight's episode of the Atomic Power Racing Hour. Teams travel in from far and wide to take on the quarter-mile Cornwall Motor Speedway, a track known for its poutine, but also has served as host to some unforgettable races. Who will win tonight's bull ring battle? It's coming up next on the Atomic Power Racing Hour. Hello and welcome to Cornwall Motor Speedway in Ontario, Canada, north of the border at one of the favorite tracks that the Go Nuclear late models visit all year long. Doug Elkins and Rich Fleck up here in the booth. And Rich, this is one of the more unique tracks that we travel to all year long.
Yeah, it's tiny, it's high-banked, and no driver lives within 2.5 hours of the Speedway. So they all make the long pilgrimage up to the eastern end of Ontario to take on this bull ring.
It is a very unique track, as we said. The third member of our team, Paul Small, is down on the track right now.
A race at Cornwall Motor Speedway is like a storm brewed in a teacup. This is a very high-banked, tight, and fast quarter-mile racetrack with a lot of elevation change from the fast line on the inside hub all the way here to the top of the banking. This track will be tacky during the heat races, but then it will start to slick off on the bottom, and the cushion will start to move up as we get towards tonight's features.
You know, Paul's about 6'4", but from that angle, he looks like a giant down there on that racetrack. A lot of teams, like we said, took the long trip to get here. Cornwall does not run late models weekly, Rich, so there's nobody with any home track advantage here.
Nope, the one race a year that the late models come in. This is the third race for the Go Nuclear late models in series history at this Cornwall Motor Speedway. And for some teams here for the first time, a few other drivers traveling in that have seen the racetrack. But again, it's kind of like going to one of those golf courses that you've seen once or twice, but you still don't have that total feel on it. Maybe it'll be a little bit different of track conditions too, which could throw in the extra variable.
We had a chance to chat with the guys and say, what is it that makes Cornwall so much fun?
Cornwall's a nice, tight, high-bank racetrack. It's a nice little bull ring and action-packed week in and week out. So hopefully the Go Nuclear late models here tonight could put on a good show.
It's a good atmosphere. The fans are always good. It's always packed here. The track's so tight. Everything's happens so quick, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a racy little track, so it's a lot of fun out there.
Well, racing around a teacup is pretty fun. I mean, it's fast, furious. You make a mistake and you're done. So you got to be on your toes the whole time.
Just the speed, I think, and how fast we can get around this place. It's a lot of fun going fast.
The size. Small bull ring, tight quarters, fast.
Fast. It's fast and high banked and tight. That's what it is right there.
You know, and usually when you think quarter mile and fast, you're thinking about drag racing or something like that, but that is the reality of Cornwall Motor Speedway, Rich.
And that's why they love being here. And some of the drivers that are here today, Charlie SANDERCOCK, the current series points leader, 2014 series champion. Brandon MOWAT, one of the Canadians that is on the rise, getting closer to his first career tour win. That's why they're here, because they know tonight could be a breakthrough show. Kyle Sopaz loves racing this track in the number 12, and they know that this track can sometimes produce first-time winners.
Maybe Chad Homan just graduated from modifieds to late models, and he hasn't been here much.
And he's doing a great job at his hometown track, but a little bit different for him. How about Adam Turner, driver that was oh so close to a win here in 2014?
And that's one of the races that we still talk about today. When you talk about this series, we talk about the race here 2 years ago. Let's look back at the wonderful finish that we had here in 2014.
Potts has reeled him right in. That top side continues to work. Phil Potts, again, won Friday night at the Can-Am Speedway. He's right there for the race lead, trying to win 2 times in this weekend.
Got a little high that time coming out of turn number 2, but got a good run. Remember, it's a little tacky around the outside part of the speedway. They're hitting 3 and 4. They'll see the white flag this time.
And he pushes up over the berm, and Turner will drive away with the white flag out. Phil Potts knew he had to hang it all on the edge with the cautions out.
Oh, Jason Knowles around in turn number 2, brings out the yellow.
Back underway, and a good start for Turner into 1.
Here they go down the backstretch for the final time.
And up on the top, Potts sticks it in there. Turner through the middle, off the corner. Back at the line, Potts gets it.
He's second in the Go Nuclear late model point standings coming into this round here at Cornwall. And Phil Potts, we're still talking about that race from a couple of years ago here.
Yeah, I would actually love to pull it off again tonight. Closer the better. We made a lot of new friends that night when that happened, and it made a really good race as well.
Now, you're second in the points. You've had 2 feature wins this year. How important is a good finish tonight?
Oh, it's huge if we want to stay with because again, it's a tight-knit group of guys. Points are close. And, yeah, I really do want to finish well here tonight. I'd prefer to finish ahead of Charlie, but I would finish second to him too, but I would prefer to finish ahead of him. And I'm hoping for a good night. I'm hoping for a dry, slick track because this car likes it.
Phil Potts will be one of the guys trying to defend the home turf here tonight at Cornwall.
Of course, it all began with time trials. The top 4 from each group would be inverted for the 2 qualifying heat races, and Phil Potts was very fast out there in this group.
Yeah, car looked good up on the top of the racetrack. Track very fast during the time trial sessions, but there was some areas in the middle that you really couldn't go. Well, Brandon Mowat went above those. He was the fastest in the 46, 13.955, his fastest lap, even though he tagged the wall after completing that quick circuit.
Got to make it one big circle. He did just that. Qualifying session number 2 got off to a rough start. Andy Mayhew went around here early.
Yep, Mayhew spun in the 1X, and when they got back underway, Charlie SANDERCOCK, the current series points leader. This gives you a great idea, Doug, of how fast
shot.
they drive into the corner. Very little lifting, if at all, just a burp on the throttle to set the corner. 57 was fast, but only second quickest for the 2014 Series champion, because a 2-time Series champion back in 2012 and 2013, Dale Caswell, had the quickest lap of anyone in the Mike Kazmierzak-owned 118, 13.703. More on the bottom, though, although that's where we know Caswell usually is.
Heat races when we come back. It's heat race time at the Cornwall Motor Speedway, and one of the drivers that is in the first qualifier is Tyler Rand, who won his heat race here last year and talked to our Paul Small earlier about his excitement about returning to the quarter mile.
This driver had a good run here at Cornwall last year and picked up a win at Brighton earlier this year. And Tyler Rand, are you optimistic for tonight?
Yeah, I really like this track. I'm always good at the little bull rings and stuff, so I've ran here in modified and sprint, and so I'm pretty confident with it.
Do you think the laps in the modified and sprint will translate for you driving a crate late model?
Yeah, actually last year I was using it like a modified. I was getting my left rear up on the berm here, and you can usually roll that, get a lot of side bite, and hopefully it works again tonight.
Ready to go for the first qualifying heat race of the night as we'll ride along with Phil Potts. He will start inside row number 2 from the number 3 starting spot. Top 4 out of each qualifying heat will redraw for their up front starting spots. And remember, the top 4 were also inverted from time trials. Rich, here's the lineup.
And Chris Fleming earns the pole position. Didn't have a great run here last year, so maybe he can turn it around. A lot of Canadians, as you're going to see throughout the night, but Johnny Hill does start back in spot number 7, making the trip up from New York. But Auburn, New York's Chris Fleming ready to lead him to green with Tyler Rand to the outside. Rand won his heat race last year here in his rookie season in a crate late model, but it's Fleming getting the jump into turn number 1.
Chris Fleming, of course, just switched from IMCA Modifieds a few years ago. He has the lead. That's Tyler Rand, a regular modified guy, the Northeast-style Modifieds on the outside, but look down on the inside. There's the number 29, and Phil Potts trying to make a move.
And Potts makes it stick and is up into spot number 2. Now drives up the racetrack, and Rand scoots back down to the bottom. Tyler Rand likes that bottom rail of the racetrack here at the Cornwall Motor Speedway, and it looks good as he goes back to the inside of the 29.
Potts trying to get to the bottom there out of turn number 2. He will do so looking a little bit further back. There's Kyle Sopaz running the number 4 spot. Battle again for second place.
Boy, Rand really drives in there deep, but you got to have a car tight enough to be able to stick like glue on the inside of the racetrack. He'll make it work for the moment. It goes back down to the bottom as Potts washes way up. And now Rand going back after the lead. Hard to see a lot of passes in heat race competition, Doug, on the bottom here at Cornwall because it is so tight. And the thing that we don't really see, maybe you see it, a touch and Rand's into the wall.
Off the wall, big-time contact. He goes high. I think he's got a problem, Rich. He is slowing.
I'm not sure if the right rear is flat. We obviously see all the body damage that is occurred on the 84, and it looks like he's going to pull off the racetrack. Not sure if the yellow is going to come out. No, he will clear the racetrack, so we stay green, but tough break for Rand. There goes a redraw spot done, and he'll start in the back for the feature event tonight.
Yeah, had a good qualifying effort, a track he knows well, obviously wants to do well on his home soil, and now he's if things don't turn around, he's going to have to start at the back. Just 2 laps to go here in this first qualifying heat, and Chris Fleming all alone out front.
Yeah, can't be touched so far. His rookie season in these late models last season, won the track championship at Fulton. They had 2 wins along the way, but wants better results on the Go Nuclear Late Model Tour. This is a good step to doing so as he is clean into turn number 3.
Just a easy drive for him here tonight, a Sunday drive in Cornwall, and Chris Fleming will get the qualifying heat race win. Phil Potts comes home second, just about a second and a half behind him. Kyle Sopaz and Brandon Mowat round out the redraw positions, followed by Johnny Hill, who was in the number 5 spot, just one out of one of those coveted redraw spots.
Well, Fleming, a driver that is off to a good start this year at his local track with 2 feature wins, and he'll be happy to pick up this checkered flag.
Just like the human body has an optimal temperature range, so does the Go Nuclear Late Model, and this radiator system is what regulates it. The coolant lines flow in and out of the radiator to flow the coolant in and then bring it back here to the radiator to be cooled, which is usually a double or triple core system. There's also a fan here on the back of the radiator to help with cooling, and sometimes that's protected by a shroud to keep rocks and debris out. But the easiest way to keep out rock and debris is through a shaker screen that's hanging on the bar here in front of the radiator.
Heat race number 2 is lined up and ready to hit the track momentarily, and it's another star-studded field, including the gentle giant Greg Bellier in his familiar 25. Bellier had a runner-up finish at Cornwall last season and knows tonight could be the night to break through for his first tour win. Heat race 2 is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Magic. That's what music can bring to your life. And that's why we at Tenacious Sound focus on providing personal service and the highest quality products tailored to your needs and tastes. Headphones, turntables, wireless systems, speakers, home theaters that exceed the best out there. We have it all. Let us demonstrate how much more performance, enjoyment, and value experience can bring to you. Your music, your ears, your choice. Tenacious Sound, Armory Square, Syracuse. TenaciousSound.com.
Electricity. You flip a switch, the lights go on. But will we have safe supplies of electricity to meet our fast-growing needs? Today, nuclear energy provides 1/5 of America's electricity. Tomorrow, it could supply even more. And nuclear power plants don't emit greenhouse gases, so they preserve our environment. We need to reduce our dependence on foreign energy. And we also need clean air. With nuclear energy, we can do both. Nuclear, putting clean air energy to work.
The Go Nuclear Late Model Challenge Series is presented by Excel Tower Service, Adam Naylor Plumbing, Humber Nurseries, Divots Excavating, B-Tech Concrete and Construction, Laguna, Gillies Napa, Deerhaven Victory, BA Custom Headers, Bellevue Fabricating, C. Smith Automotive Machine Shop, Gullivan International, Superior Crane, Scott Jeffries Performance, and Tenacious Sound.
We're back here at the Cornwall Motor Speedway for the lone Go Nuclear Late Model Series event of the season at this tricky quarter mile. It's an event that Adam Turner in the 92 always looks forward to and carries plenty of confidence at, as he explained to Paul Small earlier in the night.
Adam Turner is a driver who has gotten a couple of feature wins this season and probably has more laps here at Cornwall than anybody.
Yeah, maybe more than a few guys in the late model series. I wouldn't say more than anybody, but I like coming to this place with a little extra experience. The racing's good here. The track's fast. I seem to like it here.
This track is so fast and so tight. Things happen so quickly. How easy is it to get in trouble here?
It's pretty easy if you're in the back and the guys cross up, because it's hard to get in the infield with these late models. They're so low, so you can't, the modifieds and guys will run up on the bank and then get into it, but it's hard with us. There's not much escaping. You either got to fly up off the end or use a wall, which isn't good.
You said you figure tonight's going to be win number 3?
That's what I'm hoping for, win number 3 tonight. Shouldn't have an issue with that. Car's been fast all year. We're good here, so everything's lining up for a win number 3 anyway.
Very confident Adam Turner in the pit area. A little too confident, Rich?
You don't hear people say that very often. He's going to start in third in this heat race behind Chad Homan and Charlie Sandercock. They're pretty good at their local racetracks. So too is the driver to the outside of Turner, the 118 of Dale Caswell, who was quickest in time trials.
Yeah, grew up at the tiny third mile Brewerton Speedway, so this is even tiny for him as we get the green with former modified racer Chad Homan on the pole.
And Homan goes down to the bottom of the speedway. Charlie Sandercock standing up on the cushion, trying to run around the outside of the 91 as they work into the sun of turn number 3 and 4.
Sandercock around the outside, but Homan not ready to give up that spot just yet. You can see what they're talking about with that berm on the inside with the front on these late models. You can't get too close or it's going to cause all kinds of problems.
Exactly. If it was a modified, it must be a little bit different. Homan just puts that left rear up on the beginning of the berm, but Sandercock is pulling even into turn number 1 and 2.
Oh, this is good stuff right here. Going down the backstretch. Look at the cross flags when they come around this time. Classic high-low battle here at the front.
Coming to complete lap number 3, as it will be Sandercock leading at the line.
Sandercock out in front, not by much, but he might change that right now. Got a good run out of 2, but right back at him comes Homan as Turner watches from third.
Homan dives in, thinks about driving back under, and I'm sure Sandercock's going, come on, top's got to be quicker. Homan standing the test of time.
Yeah, he's just staying right there and really doing a great job for a rookie in this division, racing against a guy who's won races at pretty much every track that we visit. Sandercock still stuck to the outside, but Homan, I think he got the lead on that one.
Well, you said Sandercock has won just about on every track. He has not won at Cornwall, although he did win 19 times across the Northeast last year.
So he wants this one tonight, but so does Chad Homan. Sandercock with the edge by half a car length that time with 2 to go.
2 more laps remaining, still side by side. Looked like Homan got in there a little bit too tight, had to burp on the brakes a little bit harder than he would have wanted. Sandercock, you see how he throws that car in there and almost takes up 2 lanes. He's a car ahead with a lap to go.
This is the biggest margin he's had, and right back to the bottom goes Homan, and just when you think the race is over, here comes Homan back again.
Homan drives in, gets a half a car length ahead. Off at turn number 4, we're going to have another tight finish, and it is Sandercock by less than 100th of a second.
.009. What is it about this place and close finishes? That was closer than one we had that we talked about earlier.
And that's why drivers like racing Cornwall. And there it is, a little thumbs up for Chad Homan from Charlie as he heard that over the radio and got a little fist pump in as well. You got to take another look at that one.
Yeah, this is definitely worth taking another look because, again, right here you're going, okay, it's Sandercock. He's got this thing, right?
And yet Homan kept driving down to the bottom. Again, we can't illustrate enough how circular the racing groove is, and as they come off the final corner, you think Homan might have it, and boy, that's pretty
so
tough
hard to tell. It's got to be inches at the most that he won by, but I love how he gave Chad a thumbs up like, man, that was fun, buddy, good job. We asked Charlie and some of the other drivers, I mean, you just saw what they like about this place, but what do they like? Who are their favorites to race against?
I got a bunch of guys here in this whole series that are fun to race against, but I'd have to say Phil Potts.
I guess it has to be Charlie Sandercock because we can run door to door, we can lean each other. I never have to worry about being taken out.
Him and I have raced side by side for probably going on 6-7 years now, and we've had a lot of tight races door to door.
But we can lean, we can rub, but you never have to worry about actually being deliberately spun out or run in too hard.
At the end of the night, we can still shake each other's hand and race hard. We may touch, we may not touch, but at the end of the day, we're having fun.
Sometimes I like racing Charlie. As much as rivals we are, we like to beat and bang. Well, we used to. We're pretty good now. It's fun. It's fun racing the guys with some talent so you can dice it up and make it a race out of it for the fans.
I race good with a lot of them, actually. Most of the guys here are really clean drivers, so Charlie's always good to run with. We get along real well. He helps me with the setup, so probably Charlie's one of the best to run with.
Actually, I'm finding they're all pretty really, nice guys, and we've raced a lot with Chris Fleming here lately. He's been really good. Had some really good battles at Canandaigua with Dale Caswell, and we duked it out a few times. And I'd say right now those are the 2 guys I've raced with the most this year, and having a lot of fun with those guys.
Yeah, Dale Caswell goes back to some IMCA days, some brilliant races, always fun to race with. Never any trouble, just good racing.
I like to race against Kyle Sopaz. We get along good off the track, and we compete good on the track.
Well, with the Go Nuclear late model heats in the books, some of Cornwall's weekly divisions return to the racetrack. Obviously, their events are not running as smoothly as the late models. We will take another break, but when we return, we will catch up with the 2 heat race winners, plus much more, right here on the Atomic Power Racing Hour.
If you're enjoying these late models on the Atomic Power Racing Hour, you need to be there in person. The Go Nuclear Late Model Challenge Series is coming to a track near you with all the dirt-flinging, side-by-side racing, and bumper-to-bumper action that you can handle. Come see the cars and stars of the Atomic Power Racing Hour as they battle for bragging rights. The series is coming to a track near you, so don't miss out on your best opportunity to experience what all the hype's about. It's the completion of the Gnome Cup, August 14th at Utica Rome Speedway.
Magic. That's what music can bring to your life. And that's why we at Tenacious Sound focus on providing personal service and the highest quality products tailored to your needs and taste. Headphones, turntables, wireless systems, speakers, home theaters that exceed the best out there. We have it all. Let us demonstrate how much more performance, enjoyment, and value experience can bring to you. Your music, your ears, your choice. Tenacious Sound, Army Square, Syracuse. TenaciousSound.com.
It's intermission time here at the Cornwall Motor Speedway for the Go Nuclear Late Model Series, and it appears that some of the drivers, like Robbie Wilson, wouldn't mind getting back on the track right now. Thank goodness for some good old-fashioned 21st century technology. Maybe he's just checking out GoNuclearLateModelSeries.com. In the meantime, let's send it down to Paul Small, who is caught up with one of our heat race winners.
Winner of heat number 1 for tonight's Go Nuclear Late Model event here at Cornwall, Chris Fleming. A lot better than the last time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the car was on rails, and last year we really struggled. This place is tricky to get around, and having that seat time from last year and the experience and the gains that we made in the car have definitely paid off, and it showed right there.
Now there's going to be a redraw for the starting positions for the feature. How hopeful are you to start in the first 2 or 3 rows?
Well, I mean, I guess there was only 8 cars drawn, so the worst we could do is the 4th row, but I already elected my mom to draw because I'm terrible at drawing, so I'll go up to watch, but I'm not touching a pill or whatever they're pulling.
So hopefully Mom will bring Chris some good luck with the front row draw for tonight's feature.
There was a similar story for Charlie SANDERCOCK, who ran better than Fleming in 2015's event, but still struggled to produce the type of results we were accustomed to for the 2014 Go Nuclear Late Model Series champion. SANDERCOCK was the winner, however, of Heat Race 2, and our Paul Small has caught up with the driver of the number 57.
Second heat won by Charlie SANDERCOCK in dramatic fashion. First off, how much fun was that?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. I think one of the first times the race was Chad, and it was just an awesome show. Every time I came over the corner, he was right there, and I knew I had to drive it in that much deeper the next corner, and he was still hanging in there. So I think it must have been a pretty good show for the fans here at this little bull ring.
.009 margin of victory.
Yeah, that's pretty quick, or pretty close, and seems to be the way it happens around here, like when Potts and Turner had a really close finish there a couple years ago. So hopefully the finish, or the feature, is as exciting as heat races were.
Yeah, this track hasn't been too kind to you the past couple of years. You feel like maybe a little karma's coming your way?
That'd be nice. I think, I don't know if it's so much the track's fault the last couple of years, more the driver just kind of blowing the end of the racetrack, but well, hopefully we can overcome that and end up with a good finish tonight.
Well, let's hope that feature ends the way that second heat race did.
You notice SANDERCOCK drinking that pure Canadian water right there. That was a coincidence. But often in racing, you see a driver sip their sponsor's product during the interview for a few extra bucks. It's something that irks a faction of people within racing, but we wanted to know, among the Go Nuclear Late Model Series driver, what is their biggest pet peeve in racing? It's our question of the hour.
Biggest pet peeve in racing?
Whiners.
Slow restarts drive me nuts. The guys are idle, then fire. I want to drive right over them.
Towing somewhere a long ways and then having it rain out.
Probably in the last month or so, it's lap cars running side by side, and that's cost us a lot of positions here lately. But you know, hopefully those are out of the way, and we'll have single file from here on out.
Well, after last night when they have a handicap feature and you have to get through some handicap cars and they tear you up, that's tough. So but it makes for a good show. But as a driver owner, that can cause some cost.
You probably shouldn't say in this interview because I could get fined, but I'm gonna say inconsistencies.
I know exactly what he means. Well, I don't like going to the racetrack and having it rain out. You don't see anything. What about you, Rich?
I would say drivers that draw cautions intentionally, especially in heat race action.
That's true. I'm with you on that one, too. Our Paul Small is down while they're working on the cars. He's got one last tech tip for us before we get started.
For many years, the Brunhosel jack was the standard bearer in short track racing to jack up the front and rear of the car. And while those are still used, a lot of drivers on the Go Nuclear late model series have taken things to the next step, borrowing a little bit from Formula One technology with a hydraulic lift system. Now, in Formula One, they'll lift the front and rear of the car with something similar to this, but this setup is designed to nestle between the wheels on the frame rails of the car, and it suspends the entire car up off the ground. And anybody who works on these cars will tell you it makes things a lot easier for tire and suspension work.
Of course, not everyone has that technology at their disposal. Here you see Chad Holman, simply using a foam mat to get down and dirty. It looks like he is trying to make his car that extra 1/100th of a second faster he needed in his heat race. More to come on the Atomic Power Racing Hour from Cornwall on the other side of this break, so don't go anywhere.
Electricity. You flip a switch, the lights go on. But will we have safe supplies of electricity to meet our fast-growing needs? Today, nuclear energy provides 1/5 of America's electricity. Tomorrow, it could supply even more. And nuclear power plants don't emit greenhouse gases, so they preserve our environment. We need to reduce our dependence on foreign energy. And we also need clean air. With nuclear energy, we can do both. Nuclear, putting clean air energy to work.
Magic. That's what music can bring to your life. And that's why we at Tenacious Sound focus on providing personal service and the highest quality products tailored to your needs and taste. Headphones, turntables, wireless systems, speakers, home theaters that exceed the best out there. We have it all. Let us demonstrate how much more performance, enjoyment, and value experience can bring to you. Your music, your ears, your choice. Tenacious Sound, Army Square, Syracuse. TenaciousSound.com.
Back here at Cornwall Motor Speedway in Cornwall, Ontario, up in Canada, as autograph session takes place, a favorite of young fans and really a favorite of the drivers everywhere, Rich.
Especially here in Eastern Ontario. Boy, they do love their dirt track racing in this part of the world.
Yes, they do. And a lot of the teams, they bring candy so the kids get down there where they get autographs. It's just a great time to meet the drivers and find out a little bit more. Now, Utica Rome. We didn't actually, this is race number 3 right now. It should have been race number 4, but Mother Nature kind of rained the show out. Let's take a look at the action before Mother Nature rained us out just a couple laps into the feature.
And this is the Gnome Cup, so it's a special event. Heat race action, this is some of the best heat racing we've seen anywhere. I mean, it was hard to beat heat race number 2 at Cornwall
That's
earlier.
True.
But 3-wide action there. Billy Isley won that one. How about this battle? You got Sam Panaccio and a new driver, Chuck Myers, in the 125. Panaccio wins that heat race after his good run there back in April.
Brett Belden, one of the local guys here, battling Dale Caswell, a couple of guys who've raced this track for many, many years, especially Belden. He's raced here since the 80s.
Yeah, both of them with track championships at some point. Caswell had won a feature race here as well, and up on the outside of the racetrack, Caswell would actually get that momentum to stick and pull away from Belden to score that win. So then we go to the feature race action, and you see the sun out,
yeah,
but the storm was coming from the other way.
That's right. It was coming from over behind turn number 2, the opposite way that everything moves here in New York State. But the drivers were focused. You could see the dark clouds right there as they're getting real close to the speedway.
And they knew that it might be racing to halfway, which was lap 15. This is lap number 2, and the sprinkles started to show. But Fleming was looking good, and look at how close these cars are together all the way through the pack. Sam Panaccio, Chuck Myers, Brett Belden, right behind Billy Isley. I mean, great racing, 3 wide, could go anywhere on the speedway. Everything you're looking for except those dark clouds off behind turn number 2.
Yeah, I remember we're sitting here going, do we have enough time? Maybe if it sprinkles and they keep out there, maybe we can go. And so far, we're still looking good here for the Gnome Cup.
Exactly. And then they go into turn number 1, and Caswell goes, you know what? I'm going for the race lead. Again, we're showing you this racing action because it didn't end up resulting in anything, but it was really fun to watch. I mean, these guys were all over the racetrack. racing hard. And you see that sometimes in Forms Racing when they don't know that they have how many laps they have left to go. They're going for it all. Look at this 3 wide down the front stretch. That would become the problem, though. Sam Panaccio got into the side of the 125 of Chuck Myers, collected the 81 of Brett Belden, and Aaron Jacobs, the winner of the Gnome Cup last year, also got thrown off on that. And when it happened, I said, you know what? I think that just ended our night. Rain on the Speedway, and the drivers would have to pull off. They'd almost get the show back in.
They would. We almost had the track back. I remember that.
Almost had it back, but Mother Nature hit again, and the show has been postponed until August 14th.
Yeah, so this would have been the race before, so now we're race number 3 into the year, and again, they'll be doing that on August 14th, so the Gnome Cup will be run once again. And back here at Cornwall, well, no worries about that, Rich, at all, as we are going to get ready to go with the feature. But first, Paul Smolchuk with new track owner here, Raymond Laverne, as a lot has changed here at Cornwall.
Raymond, first question. A lot of improvements done here at Cornwall. The most recent and probably the most visible are those spanking brand new grandstands.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they were more than due, so we did upgrade that start in early September, and we just got finished for the first weekend of May.
What's it like, and do you enjoy having a special series like the Go Nuclear late models coming in?
Yeah, for sure. Me, myself, I really do like that class, and that's why they're coming in every year.
That draw for starting spots, there were 2 drivers left. It was either 6th or the pole, and Brandon Mowat just found out that he did not get the pole, Rich.
No, 46 will start in 6th, and that gave the pole to the Andy Mayhew number 1. So car 1 will start spot 1, and well, that's easy when you don't have to worry about what you're going to draw. You just get handed the pole and a t-shirt as well.
There you go, our pole sitter. You see him right there. Now let's hear from him as he reacts to getting a great starting spot for the feature.
How about this? The number 1 car is going to start in position number 1 tonight. Andy Mayhew drew the pole.
Yeah, it's first time yet for Go Nuclear race to be on the pole. The car's working good. Hopefully tonight's going to be our night.
So do you think starting up front you're going to be able to keep these fast guys behind you? That's the big question.
Yeah, I tend to kind of stick to the bottom, and the top tonight seems like it's a little rough, so I'm hoping that maybe it'll work for me.
Andy Mayhew going from position 1 tonight.
Well, Andy said he liked starting on the bottom, liked running the bottom, and he will start at the bottom of row number 1, a place where every race driver wants to start, Rich.
Yeah, and it seems like he'll be pretty comfortable from there. Right behind him, the 91 of Chad Holman. We saw what he did in the heat race action, and can he get just a little bit more in his first feature start here at Cornwall?
And, of course, Holman ran the inside in his qualifying heat race as well. Phil Potts is right behind him. So we got a lot of good guys going from that inside row.
And we know what Potts has done here in the past, driving up through the field.
Can he do it again, or will we have a new winner tonight at Cornwall? We're going to find out. The 35-lap feature is coming up next. It's feature time here at the Cornwall Motor Speedway for the 35-lap Go Nuclear Late Model Series battle at the Bull Ring. We saw a very even racetrack from top to bottom in the heats, but are we going to see that in the feature? Here is what Paul Small found on the racetrack just a few moments ago.
The track has changed completely from what we saw during the heat races earlier this evening. Down here at the bottom of the racetrack, there's moisture, but it's a very rough surface, especially when you come off turn number 4. Probably the preferred lane for a lot of the late model racers is going to be up here on the top side of the racetrack where it's a lot smoother. But you can see how high this cushion is, almost all the way to the top of the racetrack. Make one mistake up here, you're out of the ballpark.
Kind of reminds you a little bit, Rich, of Utica Rome, where that cushion gets right up on the lip. And here's something a little bit different. We try to go 4 wide on the restarts, but at Cornwall, there's not really room 3 wide on the parade lap.
Still looks cool. The fans still like it, and packed house in here tonight at Cornwall. as the drivers are getting ready to go for a 35-lap feature. Last year's event, 30 laps, so 5 more circuits around, and maybe a little bit more time for these drivers to move up through the field. We've seen even track conditions all night long, not really one prevalent groove where that's where you got to be. So it's going to be interesting to see if a driver can make it stick.
35 laps, 15 cars in the field. The Delaware restarts if we need them. That's where the leader will get the front row, and then second place would have choice of inside or outside of row number 2. That's if we get a restart tonight. Beautiful night, as you can tell here at Cornwall, as the field gets the white.
Well, we saw that Andy Mayhew's on the pole, but you got Adam Turner on the outside, and boy, Turner's been good here just about any time that he's competed at the Cornwall Motor Speedway. And from the outside of the front row, we heard Paul's take. Probably that top side will be a little bit more preferred. Can he get the jump on the initial green? All the way back through the pack, you see Tyler Rand started in 15th. Remember how good he was in the heat race. Can he carve his way through the field? 35 laps is underway.
Green flag is out. One of the tightest racetracks on the circuit has the Go Nuclear late models on him right now as we ride with Charlie SANDERCOCK down through turn 2.
And they stay side by side. Wow, it looks like a parade lap in a turn number 3 and 4. Down to the bottom, Holman slipped up. Here comes Potts peeking to the inside as they were nearly 3 wide for third.
Potts didn't have enough time to get in there and get that spot, but you can see Holman having a little trouble holding the bottom as we watch the battle out front. Turner on the outside of the one of Andy Mayhew.
Mayhew sticks it like glue down on the inside, and this is the Chad Holman piece that we saw back in the heat race action where you expect the outside guy to just drive around, but Mayhew somehow keeps the momentum up and is able to keep them at bay. But boy, SANDERCOCK trying to slice right through.
Yeah, you can tell he's thinking, isn't there room there? But they're approaching the corner. Now back to the inside. And you see that lift that the guys were talking about earlier. Modifieds and stuff like that will actually pick the left front up. You could actually get it on that mound. But with these front ends that these late models have, you just can't do it. There's not room. And SANDERCOCK's got to feel a little frustrated right now, nowhere to go.
Exactly. You know, it is early in the race, but you can tell he wants to go. Drives up the racetrack a little bit, still peeks to the inside of the 92. I don't think Turner knows he's there until now.
He does now.
Yeah, but he probably hears him now, knows he's there, and knows, I got to go. I got to get around Mayhew. They're pretty good buddies, and I don't think he can be real friendly right now.
And I'm impressed with Andy Mayhew with what he's doing right now. This is a guy who has not had a lot of top 5 finishes in a late model, and he's right there racing for lead. He's going to lead this lap.
Yeah, he'll continue to hang on as we work lap number 7. But, you know, the problem is on the bottom, you've got to hit your mark almost every single lap to stay in front, because as soon as the 92 is able to get by, it may be tough to hang right with him and kind of keep the 92 a half a groove off of where he wants to be.
All but 4 of the drivers in this race today call Brighton Speedway home. They're Canadians, and we've got 3 Brighton guys racing up in front right now.
Absolutely. You got the 92 of Adam Turner, who has 2 wins. Charlie SANDERCOCK has 2 wins. Mayhew doesn't even have a top 10.
Right through the middle, SANDERCOCK, he might have Mayhew for second place, and he's telling himself clear as he goes to the bottom for the lead.
Why get one when you can get both? He goes down to the bottom, and he becomes the new runner on the inside lane. And you know SANDERCOCK's usually a little bit stronger than that one of Mayhew, and he's going to power down. Look at that. Maybe the bottom is the place to be as SANDERCOCK drives into the race lead. Impressive.
Well, sometimes when everybody uses one groove, you know how dirt tracks are, or one groove will keep a little more moisture. Bottom good, and you can see that Mayhew fell back just a little bit. He caught that inside berm a little bit the last time through 1 and 2, and that cost him a lot of ground.
And Phil Potts is trying to go after him and Chad Holman now, as the best side-by-side battle is for 6th. Brandon Mowat and Kyle Sopaz.
And now we look up ahead just a little bit more. That's the 4th place battle as we ride with Chad Holman. Actually, Chad running, I believe, in 5th right now.
Right.
He's got 4 cars out in front of him.
Yeah, just lost the spot to Phil Potts. And Potts looks like he might get 3rd as Mayhew missed his mark again. And Potts is on the move.
Oh, a little contact that time. Mayhew, he just kind of moved him out of the way there, got the spot. So Chad Holman in 5th now, looking to get 4th as they head into turn number 3. We're just a little past the 1/3 mark of this race.
Doug, how often do you see it, a driver out in front and it's kind of a big story developing and they're hanging on a rail. As soon as it goes wrong a little bit, they don't hang in 3rd real well. They just start fading back as things get a little haywire.
Well, you lose your rhythm, and this is a quarter-mile track,
Yes.
a true rhythm track, and sometimes it can take you 2-3 laps to get your rhythm. You're trying to get your rhythm. Now somebody else shoves their nose in front of you. You never get it, and next thing you know, they're throwing the blue move-over flag at you.
Exactly. Not that bad yet for Mayhew. Still having a great run in 4th. Keep watching this duel for 6th between Mowat and Sopaz. They are getting the blue Move over flag, though, for the back of the field. Robbie Wilson, the first car that's going to go a lap down, as SANDERCOCK has reeled them in toward a halfway.
Well, that's the reality of a quarter-mile track, 16 laps into the race. That's what's going to happen.
But I will say that does speak to the track conditions, Doug, because I would say normally on a track this short, you would get lap traffic even quicker than halfway through the race. And here comes the blue 92 of Adam Turner.
Well, you can see SANDERCOCK's having a little trouble with the slower car of Wilson, and that's allowing the 92 of Turner to get there. But the only problem is that 09 is right where Turner wants to be.
Exactly. And again, you're not just going to get by the lap car and drive away. They're pretty even right now. And I don't know if there's any rubber being laid down. It looks like the cars are just very slick working through the middle of the speedway.
And we saw the cross flags just a little while ago. This time they come around. There'll be just 15 laps to go here at Cornwall Motor Speedway. Look back to that sixth-place battle between MOWAT, he's in the 46, and Kyle Sopaz in the 12.
And it's been this way for, 15 laps. MOWAT on the bottom, Sopaz up on the top of the racetrack, trying to make something stick. Often drivers will set up for one group or the other. Here at Cornwall, it appears that they can kind of diversify that a little bit more because the corner, the bottom and the top aren't that much different.
And there's almost two grooves at the bottom, too. There's running right down on the lip, and then about a half a car length off as well. Riding with Chad Holman, as he is definitely gaining on fourth place right ahead of him. Here's our leaders, and back in traffic once again, that's Austin King, who they have caught at the back of the field.
Yep, and that 89, and Turner has to be loving this. SANDERCOCK drives in strong on the outside, and I think that's helping because most of the cars are on the bottom. But the bottom might be the place to be, and if SANDERCOCK isn't careful and get back down to the inside, now that Turner is working on clearing the 89, still has not done it. And Doug, we are flying through this race too, and the drivers might not even realize that because of the quick lap times that are being turned in. And here comes Potts, who's in third.
Well, especially at a quarter-mile track, everything happens so fast, you might miss the flagger. They might not really know exactly where we are in this race right now. As we watch again here, they're second and third on the racetrack. As SANDERCOCK, you mentioned, he adjusting his line, he moved a little lower and he's pulled away.
And it's hard not to see the 92 of Turner and the 29 of Potts and think back to the race we've shown a few times already tonight and alluded to. It is probably the most historical event in series history, and they're duking it out for second. Meanwhile, still a great battle now for fifth, as Kyle Sopaz is starting to get that top figured out, Doug. He got around Brandon MOWAT, now he gets around Chad Holman for the number 5 spot and is going to set his sights on fellow Canadian Andy Mayhew.
Yeah, Mayhew, although he fell back, he's pretty much maintained fourth position for about the last 15, 20 laps or so. So actually turning in a good run, but pretty soon I have a feeling he might see somebody over his right shoulder.
Well, you can tell why drivers love coming here. This track very smooth, hardly a ripple, maybe just a little bit through the middle of turn number 3 on the very bottom. But smooth, and they love doing that when they can race even on a smooth racetrack.
A lot of guys have told me they don't like the long straightaways. It kind of gets a little boring when you just sit there, but no time to relax here at Cornwall, and you can see how hard Chad Holman is working that wheel inside his 91.
Yeah, trying to get back into the top 5. Had a good run at the Brighton Speedway last week in his second career start on the Go Nuclear Late Model Tour. First time up to Brighton for him, finished in the top 5 against all those track regulars.
Well, again, what we've seen in this form of racing is these drivers from the modifieds adapt very well. And Chad was a guy who ran big block modifieds for a good 15 years out at Canandaigua, big half-mile track. Occasionally ran at Brewerton, which was a third mile. So he's adapting well as we check out some of the action a little further back.
And that's because the lap car
they're catching
are inside the top 12 right now. Look at who's ahead of our leader, Charlie SANDERCOCK.
Wow,
that's Dale Caswell, who ran a 13.7 in time trials, the quickest of anyone.
Yeah, and he's about to get lapped.
Yeah, Doug, he started back in, I believe, 10th, and just hasn't been able to do much since that point. Only 4 laps left to go. SANDERCOCK with over a second lead, but he will need to clear some lap cars before this one is over.
That was second and third. That's third place runner Phil Potts you're looking at right there. SANDERCOCK way ahead of this bunch. Just 3 laps to go as we are cruising through this feature.
And again, SANDERCOCK won the tour race at his hometown Brighton Speedway last week, had 19 wins last year, an incredible season.
Incredible.
But has never won at Cornwall and has had some bad luck. 2 laps left to go, and again, SANDERCOCK needs to get by the lap car.
It's shrinking. He's having problems with Caswell here. Remember, he's been running the bottom the last few laps, and here comes Adam Turner. 1 more lap to go this time.
It'll be interesting. He has to get by him. If he doesn't, Adam Turner might be able to pull up to the side, but Turner missed his mark in a turn number 1 and 2.
Yep, but we saw last year they were able to gain in 3 and 4. SANDERCOCK to the outside of CASWELL. Is he going to get it? Yes, he does by a car length and a half over Adam Turner.
Wow, another great finish, and maybe one more lap. Turner would have had it. Potts in third, and boy, they really drove away from the rest of the field. Looks like Kyle Sopaz will get fourth, and Andy Mayhew, nice top 5.
Yeah, I think he'll take the top 5. Chad Holman 6th. Greg Bellier, didn't talk much about him.
No.
7th. Brandon Mowat fades back to 8th. So Charlie SANDERCOCK gets it done here at Cornwall Motor Speedway. How good does he feel right now, Rich?
His second win in 3 full features this year for the Go Nuclear late models. We'll hear from him after the break. The 57 is back in victory lane here at Cornwall. What are you doing Saturday night? We'll go into the Genesee Speedway, of course. Conveniently located at the Genesee County Fairgrounds in Batavia, Genesee Speedway features 6 action-packed classes battling it out on the tight 1/3 mile. Whether it's the late models, sportsmen, street stocks, or mini stocks, racing is must-see. If you haven't been to Genesee in 2016, you are missing out on the wide-swept improvements to the grounds. So plan your next trip to Batavia before the checkered flag falls on the season.
If you're enjoying these late models on the Atomic Power Racing Hour, you need to be there in person. The Go Nuclear Late Model Challenge Series is coming to a track near you with all the dirt-flinging, side-by-side racing, and bumper-to-bumper action that you can handle. Come see the cars and stars of the Atomic Power Racing Hour as they battle for bragging rights. The series is coming to a track near you, so don't miss out on your best opportunity to experience what all the hype's about. It's the completion of the Gnome Cup, August 14th at Utica Rome Speedway.
Magic. That's what music can bring to your life. And that's why we at Tenacious Sound focus on providing personal service and the highest quality products tailored to your needs and taste. Headphones, turntables, wireless systems, speakers, home theaters that exceed the best out there. We have it all. Let us demonstrate how much more performance, enjoyment, and value experience can bring to you. Your music, your ears, your choice. Tenacious Sound, Army Square, Syracuse. TenaciousSound.com.
Welcome back to Cornwall Motor Speedway in Cornwall, Ontario. Up here in Canada, the 35-lap Go Nuclear Late Model Series feature is now complete, and Charlie SANDERCOCK starts 4th and picks up his first ever win here at Cornwall, Rich.
Yeah, it's got to feel pretty good for him. And on a 35-lap feature, it doesn't last long, but boy, that's exhilarating to go nonstop on a track where you're engaged in basically a corner the entire time.
All it took was a little over 8 minutes to do 35 laps here at Cornwall, so it doesn't sound like a long time, but I guarantee you, you're a little drained and you need a moment. There is Charlie SANDERCOCK getting out, celebrating here at Cornwall. Let's hear from the man of the hour, Charlie SANDERCOCK.
He's the man holding the trophy, which means he won this race. Charlie SANDERCOCK, tell me about those first dozen laps or so. That was some hard work.
Yeah, that was good racing. I call it 3 wide, I guess. I was poking my nose in the middle, wasn't shoving in too far, and those boys up front were doing a good job and had been enjoyable to watch.
Then you got into traffic in the middle to late stages of the race. Were you worried about that?
We were able to get by some of the guys, and we got up to mid-pack, I think, I'm sure it was, and they're a little bit quicker and a little bit faster, and they were holding their line on the bottom, and that was where I was wanting to be, so I had to try and make something work around the top side.
And it looked like those last couple laps, you were talking about the marbles on the backstretch in the heat race. Looks like you caught those a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple times we come off the bottom to try and swing it around the lap car, and we just didn't quite have the drive in the middle of the straightaway that we wanted, but I guess it doesn't really matter. We come home with the win.
Charlie SANDERCOCK picking up the win here at Cornwall.
Always nice to get your first win. Let's find out how Charlie SANDERCOCK did it. There you see him. He started on the outside of row number 2.
And he took his time for first 7, 8
very
laps.
Patient.
Because, as I said, when the field went green, this looks like a accelerated pace lap, the way these drivers were so even, side by side, all the way through the pack. And a lot of people would get impatient with that. But at the same time, SANDERCOCK knew he couldn't just wait and let those guys figure out what they had to do on the track and drive away. So he stayed right behind them, kind of in a middle groove as well, to see where the move needed to be made.
And, of course, let's not forget to talk about Andy Mayhew. Great job here up front, held his line very well. Now, here's where Adam Turner gets by, and he takes the lead and kind of sets sail a little bit here on his own.
And as soon as he did that, SANDERCOCK said, no, I have to remain side by side with him. That was the impressive move right there. Just driving through the middle of 1 and 2 and then finishing the job. Not waiting and falling back into line and having to do it all over again. keeping the pressure on for Turner, and then driving through the middle of 1 and 2. The way he drove off that corner was the difference.
It really was. He ran a great line through there, caught some traffic, so Turner had another shot at him here at the end.
And that's just it. SANDERCOCK drove off the bottom of turn number 2 better than anybody else, but when a lap car was down there and he couldn't do that, his car was not as strong. And Adam Turner had that figured out, had an idea how to reel him back in, and was right there on 3 or 4 occasions where SANDERCOCK would be better in the long run, but Turner had that little knack of staying with the 57.
Yeah, that was about the moment he fell back, but then it got close here right at the end.
Yep, 2 laps to go, coming to the white flag. It's hard to see Dale Caswell getting lapped, but that was nearly the situation, and yet SANDERCOCK could not get by him and left a half a car length for the 92 to at least make a run, but Turner messed up a little bit going into 1 and 2, and that allowed the 57 to hang on. Turner will cross in second.
Let's meet Adam Turner. He's with Paul.
Runner-up finish for Adam Turner here tonight in a non-stop race at Cornwall. Those first 10 laps look like quite a war.
The whole race was quite a war, really. I was just riding around Andy, and I thought once I cleared him, I was golden. But then, as soon as I cleared him, I realized there was another challenger that might have been a little tougher than the one car. So I tried to squeeze him a bit just to see if he'd maybe lift. But I know he's smarter than that, so he didn't lift. So chased him down. Thought I maybe had something on the last lap down here, and I think I must have run through some water or something. She cut loose, and I think it would have had something for him off of 4 if I didn't hit something down there.
And it looked like towards the end of the race when you guys were getting into traffic, you were both getting the brakes to get through pretty easily.
Yeah, I wish I was the leader to the traffic. It's a little nicer. The bottom was so fast tonight that even the lap cars were fast on the bottom, and you didn't know who was on you, so you were trying to be smart about it. So it was a good race, though. I think everybody should be happy with the fans should be happy. Everybody else should be happy. It was pretty cool.
He'd be happier if he was in first place, though.
I'd be way happier if I didn't spin the tires over here. I can tell you that.
Adam Turner, your runner-up finisher.
Boy, and you have to wonder what would have happened had he not spun his tires a little bit there. We might have seen another one of those photo finishes like we saw in the heat race tonight.
I totally agree, and I think that's what you hear in his voice. Not, hey, we ran second, Charlie was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's, if I didn't do that, what could have been? Boy, Phil Potts, a good run up to third. Kyle Sopas, he really charged as well to get up into the number 4 spot. So good run for K-Rex, and then Andy Mayhew, we've been harping on that.
Yeah, good run for him. And how about Chad Holman? He's still in his first year in this division. He gets top 6 finish here. Greg Bellia, we didn't talk much about him, but he had a strong run in 7th, so up till 10th place is or 11th place. He was the last car in the lead lap was Dale Caswell.
Right. Now all 15 drivers able to finish the race. Good run for Tyler Rand after starting dead last to get to 9th on a track that was tough to pass on. I love that. No cautions and 4 lead changes. That's pretty cool.
That is really something. Another great race here at Cornwall. Our Paul Small has caught up with our 3rd place finisher.
He grabs the final spot on the podium here at Cornwall. Phil Potts, that race was probably a workout nonstop like that.
It was. It is a lot of fun, 35 green flag laps. I was hoping for a caution towards the end, but we kind of missed it. I didn't quite have enough forward drive off I wanted. Car was good in the middle, just didn't have quite the hump at the very, very end when I wanted it. But either way, the crew did a good job. The car was still fast, coming over the top 3. I can live with that. It's not a bad thing. A little quarter panel damage, but the right rear is for that. Overall, I'm still happy. It's been a good night for us.
And you had a pretty good view of that battle for the lead over those first 10 or 12 laps. That was pretty exciting.
It was real exciting. That went for the first, 7 or 8 laps, we ran those top 5 guys all ran exactly the same together, and it was great. So you just had to stay where you were and kind of wait for someone to bump up out of the way and go, because I wasn't going to the high side, because they didn't look, unless you went way, there wasn't anything out there, and I didn't have enough gear to get way out there. So we'll just bide our time and stay where we were.
Another top 3 finish for Phil Potts here tonight.
About all he could do. Top 3 finishes every night. You'll be pretty good by the end, won't you, Rich?
No, we call them podium finishes, and this is one of the tracks that actually has a podium. I like that. Yeah, it's very nice. And diamond plated, too. Potts is remaining second in the standings. Brandon Mowat third. Chad Holman fourth. These guys doing well. Yeah, not bad. Still a lot of races left to be done, of course.
Yeah, only 3 races in out of the 12 race. Here's what you'll see next on TV. Ashwiken Speedway. That's going to be a big one, Rich.
Yeah, we're going to have an extra 30 minutes of action for sprint cars and modifieds featuring Casey Kane Racing as well.
Fulton Speedway, the High Banks will finish it out on October. What a night it was of racing with the Go Nuclear late models at Cornwall.